I am in an endless loop of starting Minecraft, getting hooked, and then dropping the game for months or years at a time. Why do I keep coming back to a game I've played dozens of times? And also, why do I keep leaving? There's a number of reasons why our minds like Minecraft. The human mind generally likes autonomy, or the ability to make your own choices. That's why over the last 15 years, we've seen an explosion in sandbox games. The first very significant sandbox game being Minecraft capitalizes on that ability to constantly choose what you want to do when you want to do it. From a game design standpoint, there's not as many guardrails as, say, games that are based off of quests. If you want to mine in a cave, you can do it. If you want to build a house, you can build a house anywhere. If you want to destroy what you've built, you can do that. Open world games, and in particular sandbox games, can be very immersive experiences. A game like Minecraft and that autonomy to make your own choices, plus that immersion, and also a relatively laid back experience, can also be a huge stress reducer and as a result, enhance mental health. As an aspiring game developer, my mind not only is thinking about the psychological impact that this game has on our mind and why people are just so attached and constantly go back to the game, but also what those game design elements are that cause that reaction in our mind. I think back to the example of Breath of the Wild. The developers of Breath of the Wild have said before that they were very intentional with the game design of what you can see in the world at any given time. One of the core pillars in that game were these giant towers, kind of like what you see in Assassin's Creed. So not only were those towers serving as a vantage point for you to plan out where you want to go next, but they also applied this concept all around the entire map. You're on top of a mountain, you could see a village or a cave or a lake or a camp full of monsters to go fight. Minecraft also benefits very strongly from this, but in a procedural way. Of course, Minecraft's world is randomized. There wasn't a developer placing each and every single block in all of our Minecraft worlds, but that same concept applies, and they've continued to iterate on that over the years. In Minecraft, you may start in a plains biome, but you might see in the distance different forests with different tree types, so you can get different blocks. Or you might see mountains that seem like a cool place to build. You might also see villages or caves that seem like an area you want to explore. Where a game like Breath of the Wild or an Assassin's Creed, you have quests guiding you to different places on a map. A game like Minecraft, you create your own quests. I want to build this house. I want to mine in this cave. I want to kill the Ender Dragon. The gameplay loop of Minecraft's very interesting as well. The first part of that loop is intention. And this is one of those key moments in the game that is so important and impactful, and I think a big reason why we come back to this game over and over. That intention. You see something in the world, and then you think to yourself, I'm going to go build over there, or I'm going to go fight that monster, or I'm going to go gather that resource. So that intention leads to an action, and then that action leads to a reward. And the thing with Minecraft is there's always something you can be doing. So the cycle just keeps repeating itself over and over and over again. So why do we come back to Minecraft? For one, it's one of the best-selling and critically acclaimed video games in history. There's always new updates coming out every year. There's new YouTube videos coming out, new builds being posted to the internet, and it's still a cultural phenomenon. People still talk about it in real life all the time. It's not really a game that anybody can ever really forget. It just has that big of a cultural impact. I know for me recently, I just got addicted to Minecraft again, and it was pure accidental. I saw some YouTube videos on how to improve building, and I watched one of them, and lo and behold, I had sunk another 20 hours in Minecraft out of absolutely nowhere. I'm not a psychologist, of course, but I did do some research as to why Minecraft is so easy to come back to and get hooked on year after year or month after month. I was curious if there was a specific part of the brain that really was exercised by playing a game like Minecraft and having this creative thought and this loop of thinking about doing something, doing it, and then getting that reward, and then restarting the cycle over and over again. What I found wasn't necessarily one particular part of the brain that was being exercised, but it appears to be multiple. Something called the default mode network. From my brief research, this is something that's triggered from rest or daydreaming, essentially when you're not focusing on anything in particular in the world around you. Some of the parts of the brain that are at play here are the aspect of the brain that's processes or makes decisions. Also, it's accessing past memories or experiences, utilizing that to think through things that could happen in the future. Your mind enjoys the processing of the game, as well as there's nostalgia and also this daydreaming element of, okay, this is what I have right now. This is what I've done in the past. How could I do this better? Or what could I build next to this? Again, I'm not a psychologist, so I maybe have butchered this explanation. But my main takeaway was realizing how many aspects of the brain that are really impacted when you play Minecraft. A common thing people will talk about is like dopamine rushes. So I was curious if that was going to be one of the main ones. It was interesting that it wasn't. And it really makes sense because I feel like every time I get hooked onto Minecraft, again, almost the best part of playing Minecraft is you think about it constantly. Like, oh man, I got to get back and play and do this, or I got to do that. I've got to build this castle, or I got to build this house, or I need to watch this video to help improve my building abilities. But why do we quit? Why do we leave? A game that I've left and come back to dozens of times. It's such a good game, and my brain seems to like it so much. Why do I quit? Well, there's two reasons that I was able to think of. And I don't really think it's directly tied to Minecraft. I think it more so comes down to us as humans and our habits. I've listened to the famous book by James Clear, Atomic Habits. There's some really fascinating insights and theories in that book. And I think two things from that book apply here and can help explain why we quit. There's always going to be events that happen in your life that are going to throw you off your daily rhythm, whether it be a busy work week or a big school project or a vacation or a family trip. Things that take you out of that day-to-day routine. Typically, it'll take effort to continue with habits that are not easy or comfortable or part of your everyday necessity. So, for example, if you work out, but then you go on a vacation for a week and you have access to no workout equipment, it might be easier to not work out when you come home because you just did it for a full week. I think that same concept applies to Minecraft. We get so hooked. We think about it constantly, but then inevitably life happens and you forget about the game and you stop thinking about it. Another thing from the book is a theory called the Plateau of Latent Potential. Essentially, the concept is you work really hard on something, but you don't see a payoff, and so you stop. One of the hardest things to do is to stick with a hobby or a habit that you want to work on and get better at and not see that potential for weeks, months, years, decades. So how that connects to Minecraft is you have this idea of an awesome castle build that you want to do, but you don't have the skills to build that castle the way you really want it to look. So you start working on it and then it looks bad. Oftentimes it's easier in our mind to just give up on something and move on to something else than to keep grinding or to keep improving your abilities or trying to learn. This same concept has hit me really hard the last couple of years. It's always been my dream to make video games. And for close to a decade, I wasn't really willing to put in any effort to actually learn how to do that. But about a year and a half ago, I actually did finally start locking in and trying to learn all the different aspects, and you certainly don't get that payoff at first. In the game I'm working on right now certainly is not as expansive as I'd like it to be, but you have to start somewhere. Minecraft is a game I'll play the rest of my life. I'm sure I'll continue to quit the game and come back to it. Thinking about it in this more psychological and game development standpoint, though, I hope to utilize this information so that I can actually do what I want to do in the game. I personally have a forever world where I've got various different villages and cities, and it's all connected by roads. But I've always felt like I've not been a good enough builder. So to fight back against that, I am going to continue to learn. I'm not going to let one bad house build take all the enjoyment of the game away from me. I'm going to keep learning, and I want to keep applying that to other aspects of my life as well. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe. If you want to follow along with my game development journey, I'll be posting more devlogs. You can also wishlist my game Above Par on Steam, hoping to release that in the next few months. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.